where'd they get those big old Uno cards?
Oh,
This boy dip off.
when Steve Smith says this receiver is like that, you're like, oh, well, he got a little carried away.
Got a little carried away.
Demo time.
I made a face, but my words did not say anything.
No, it's going to be shallow, whip. It's going to be 7 in, back to 7.
I was looking, anybody see that? I was surprised myself.
Cut to it, let's get down to it. Cut to it, let's get down to it.
We got a friend, and also we got to tell these stories a little foe. Joining us today, a special guest. He's an NFL vet who logged 7 seasons in the league as a safety, playing for the Carolina Panthers, the Arizona Cardinals. Was it the Los Angeles or LA Chargers?
It was LA Chargers, you know?
Okay, it was what, a year and a half, 2 years into,
Yep.
But you guys were playing at Home Depot, where it was always a away game. Is that correct?
So we were playing. So when I got there, they were San Diego. 3 months after I got there, they had moved to LA. So I made the transition with them, and we were playing at StubHub, which was a soccer arena / like CrossFit arena.
Yeah.
So every game was an away game.
It was, yeah. And shout out to that arena because it's right there down the street from Dominguez Hill College, where my mom, raising me and my brother, also got her bachelor's degree at the age of, she was about 30-something, 32, 34 years old. So that
shout out to mom.
Shout out to moms. And also an ACC network analyst and new host of the Weather Channel home improvement show called Fast Home Rescue, alongside with his better half, Sierra. And welcome to the Cut to It podcast. Obviously, I am your handsome host, Steve Smith Sr., and my Miami-looking host, Coley Mick.
What's going on? Thank you for joining us, Trey.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man. Coley, I like the Florida vibes you're giving off right now.
Thank you. I was saying before you joined, I'm up in Maine. It's been raining here for about 6 straight weeks. So the sun finally just came out. So it's time.
Trey.
Yeah.
Look, I know
Trey.
I
didn't know people lived there. That's interesting.
Well, first of all, I know Trey well enough. His face was like, "Why is Steve co-host in Maine?"
Hey, Steve, I'm like, whoa.
That was so abstract. It was like, why? How?
Yeah, no, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But we're here. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Trey, man, appreciate you coming on. This is a little different vibe. Obviously, we play in the National Football League together. However, you were doing something really, really cool. Just tell us what's going on, because I watched the show. I watched 3 episodes. I put it on my YouTube TV. You know, everybody around this time, this is not a flex, everybody around this time, especially 3 years removed now. Is it 3 or 4? 3 years removed from COVID. If you have not been in the airport, everybody seems to be traveling at the exact same time that you're traveling in. So 2 to 3 hours ahead. Yes, that's a PSA. But you, in this, my travels and just not being at home, you've given me an opportunity as I continue to, try to stay fit while I'm out and about. I've been able to watch your show, and it's really cool to watch, knowing how silly, fun you are, but you also have a serious side to yourself. Man, take us through this whole process, because I remember a couple of months ago, before even me and Coley got linked up, discussing possibly me and you splashing on the podcast a little bit, you juggling your ACC network gig, you get an opportunity to do radio, and then all of a sudden, and you were thinking about building a house up at the lake, a big old palace, and then all of a sudden, this boy dipped off, and haven't seen you in the
Yeah.
last couple of months because you've been back home in your hometown. Jealous. You've been out here in the rehab streets
Yeah.
of home renovation, not rehab in other areas. This is not an intervention show he's doing. This is a rehab of homes. It's been really cool, man. Take us through that.
Man, nah, man, it's been a blessing, Steve. Obviously, like you said, man, it's been a lot of work in the last year, planning, trying to figure out what's the next big step out of football. And for me, obviously, us talking football was big, but this kind of landed on my plate. Something that I've done with my foundation was I grouped together with an organization called Rebuilding Together, and I had done former work with Habitat for Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of had a feel for me. So next thing you know, my name was mentioned when it came to, hey, we need a host for a show. Rebuilding Together is the top organization we're building with. Hey, do you guys have anybody? And the first person they kind of linked to was like, hey, we think Trey Boston's perfect for it. So they came to me around the fall, asking me and my wife to do the show. And honestly, I mean, I thought it was lights out. I thought it was something that I wanted to take an opportunity to get outside of the sports realm. I think as athletes, we get so stuck inside of just trying to talk about sports or what we've done our whole lives, which is, it's what we've done our whole lives. Nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to try to create an avenue outside of that, on top of being with my family, renovating homes, starting in my hometown. I mean, just everything aligned just perfectly for me to go back home and be in the community, building homes that literally neighborhoods I had been around. But on top of that, traveling the nation. So a lot of people think it's just in my hometown, but I've been to Texas, Austin, Texas. We've been all over Louisiana. I've been in the Grand Bayou. Steve, when you watch the Grand Bayou, bro, it's like 2 hours south of Louisiana. You got to take a boat to the homes. Like, think about the bayou. Like, I'm talking
so
bayou.
like when we the shows where you seeing like swamp people and
yes.
Okay.
Building houses for gators and stuff. Yeah. That's what I'm hearing.
Hey, so it's cool because, never in my life would I expect to, one, be helping families in this way at this magnitude, but to be going across the nation and helping families, meeting new families each and every week. I mean, this opportunity, we're building and fixing homes in 5 days. So we come
5 days.
5 days.
So we watch these shows, and there's always, a couple of years later, there are things. How do you in 5 days rehab a home? One it's effective.
Yeah.
And I believe also this word, and it's sustainable.
Yes.
Right? We're not putting a Band-Aid or duct tape on PC piping. Like, how are you able to really do it that is not just for TV work?
Yeah, I mean, so think about this. The show is helping families that have been hit by natural disasters. So hurricanes, tornadoes, deep freezes. So when we come in there, that's one of the very first things that we're thinking about. Sustainable rehab that, hey, when people come back into this home, if they ever get hit by the next event, that it doesn't do anything to them. Talking about that home in the bayou, that was a home that no matter what storm is coming through, they are going to get smacked. Mm-hmm. So that means putting on literally the top best roofs we can ever imagine on a home in 5 days. That means when it comes to the wood and stilts of the home, raising them, I mean, just every option we can give these families, we're coming into it with the best equipment. All of it is nonprofit donated. So that's one thing that's a little different from our show compared to a lot of other shows. A lot of people come to these shows, I got a budget of $20,000, $100,000, whatever their budget is. Well, our budget is how much can we get the community and the organizations around to help this out for a better cause? So for us, it's crazy.
Hold on, though.
Yeah.
So if they donated, what is the process and how long is the process?
Yeah.
Between them fixing a home, you guys showing up. Obviously, you showing up on a Tuesday.
Well, we show up on a Monday.
On a Monday. Okay.
So we show up on a Monday.
How
you meet
long?
the family.
How long back? Is there an application process?
Yeah.
Like, is there a waiting list? Is there somebody didn't call? So we called them, they didn't answer. So we jumped to the next one. Like, take us through all of it, because how do you figure out and I mean, I'm throwing a whole bunch of questions at you.
No,
but
for
then
sure.
also like, has there ever been a home that you're like, bro, we can't do anything, let alone 5 days. We probably can't fix this in 5 months.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's realistic right there, Steve. Because like everybody's on a waiting list on the Rebuilding Together list. So they have a list of people who they have already monitored, maybe even worked with a little bit. But they have a nice list that they go through. They say, hey, these are the homes that we should hit. And there has unfortunately been homes that we haven't been able to hit. Because like you said, we got 5 days, you know what I mean? Like we don't have a month. We don't have 6 months. And some of these homes, unfortunately, might have structural damage that can't be fixed ASAP. A roof that is too big for us to fix, like we can't get it done. And that's the part where, the heartstrings kind of pull, because there's still people out there who can always need help. Yeah. And we're trying to build, I guess, the recognition, so people know that, hey man, y'all can come in here and do this work as well if we're showing y'all how to do it for free. So it takes a village. But we get to the families who we know, hey man, we can affect y'all's home in 5 days. You're deserving. You've been through enough trauma. You've waited. I mean, we've had families wait from up to 6 months, Hurricane Ian in Fort Myers, all the way to 2 years when it came to Winter Storm Uri in Texas. I think it was 2 years for Hurricane Ida in New Orleans. And being in New Orleans is kind of, I'm not going to say scary, but it has a sense of, man, since Katrina hit, there's so much work that they've needed since then. Then Ida hits them 16 years later on the exact date. And it just kind of puts them right back to where they were. Wow. So it's just one of those things that every single week you're enduring just different families who, man, they're trying their best, man. We dealt with a family who built their home back after 16 years. The son went through the Hurricane Katrina, roof rips off. He builds it back after 16 years, buys his parents' home, and then Hurricane Ida hits, rips the roof right back off. This is the home that he already renovated, bought back from his parents, and he gets hit again, man. And so it's so many stories like that we have to weed through, and we're trying to help everybody. But at the end of the day, we have 5 days, man. And when I mean that 5 days is it's 5 tight. Days. like it is tight, man. I'm talking, we have a build team that's around 5 people that like we really need. The rest are volunteers that of course we need as well, but about anywhere from 5 to 20 volunteers at one time, different days. But our build team, that's 5 people, man, they go strong. I'm talking, they build everything. Me and Sierra, we come in, we get our 1-2 on, but obviously our build team, they're the reason this gets done in 5 days. And man, and I wish we had 6, 7, but 5's all we got. And I like it because at the end of the day, each and every week, we're able to affect a new family.
One of the things that's funny, just show you, like I love the show, is demo time. You walk in there, you do your slow-mo, man, and it's just so fun because we, obviously your profession was football, right? Yeah. You went to UNC Chapel Hill, so super duper intelligent. However, working on a home is not your first or second profession, right? That's not the area of expertise. And yet you're still trying to find that groove where you can be comfortable being in your own skin, but not have to feel like you have to know everything. And I can see when I watch that, man, I can see you're learning how to be a host, but you're also learning how to work with your wife, because this is something that you guys have never necessarily done. You've built a home.
Yep.
You've signed paperwork. You've raised children. But trying to make a decision with other people watching and the cameras and not airing your dirty laundry and not giving a side eye or you getting a side eye, man, it's pretty cool and intriguing to watch.
Yeah, man. It's people ask about that all the time, that relationship between me and my wife and us being new to the show. And for me, the one thing that isn't new is, Steve, we've always had eyes on us. We've always had somebody
Yeah.
watching. So for me, I kind of treat it the same way. You know me, no matter where I'm at, I'm gonna truly be myself.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
are.
gonna truly go off and try to put myself in a box. I'm gonna be myself. And for the wife, it was kind of getting her to feel that same way as well. Is, hey, babe, this is your first time ever being on screen. This is the first time ever, yeah, I guess, acting to somewhat. But she kind of took that role on herself to try to get better. Hey, can I watch film? Hey, can I see myself? And the episodes that y'all have seen so far are literally, I want to say, a few of the very first episodes we filmed.
Mm.
So it's cool because we know how far we've gone since those first few episodes to where we're going when it comes to hosting. And something that I like is we get to learn. Like I don't want to come in and act like I'm just the perfect renovator. I'm one of the brothers and property brother. No, man, I'm Trey Boston, football player, intelligent young man, but I'm learning half this stuff like y'all are. And that's what I want to teach. I want to teach the people, hey, if you're at home, this is how you do it. And it could be a fun task. It's easier than you think it is. Now, some of it is harder, and you got to, have people around. But for me, I wanted to keep that same culture, man. I wanted to have fun with it. I wanted people to see the energy and character through the screen and feel like this is a new show. It's not like every other boring, oh, hey, this is how you cut wood. This is how you DIY. No, man. Watch Trey Boston. We're going to have fun. Hopefully you guys can add some of this to y'all's house. But we want to entertain a show that you guys can learn and have a good feels when it comes to the homeowners as well.
Now that you guys have learned some stuff, do you go back to your own house? You're like, I do want to knock that out. I feel like I can do this now.
Hey, Coley, man, for real. As soon as we got back home, the very first thing we did was, man, hey, man, should we knock down this wall right here and go more of an open concept?
Yeah.
And you do get to looking around your house like, man, this isn't that hard. We might be able to do that.
That's how stuff get broke.
Yeah, that's a load bearing beam. Oh no. Yeah.
So that's how stuff gets broke, man. But it's cool because you see how you could transform these homes. Like if you have the right people around, the right people to look at things, you could transform some of these homes into homes that they can't even recognize. Just don't mess up your home when it needs to be exactly the way it is.
So when you just watching the show, were your name came up, but did you guys have to audition for the show?
I would say yes and no. Like we went through like a 30-minute conversation, and they were literally like, yeah, these are people, let's go. And that happened in all of like week span. Like literally, like they felt when I was offered them to be me, they felt like, okay, we have somebody. They really wanted to see what my wife was like because it's gonna be two of us on screen. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, my wife blew it out the water. Like I was sitting next to her, like dang, like this how you coming? And it's cool because, man, I get to see my wife blossom on film. You know what I mean? Like I'm really watching my wife on TV, and I'm like, wow, you are killing it, man. You're so crisp with your lines. Like there's so many times that I need her on that show to like just start a line or just start something for us. And I'm just like, man, you are really coming into your own. This is only season 1. We've only filmed 10 episodes and next season has 22. And I'm so ready for that because I know that the wife is just killing it. She's prepped herself for this. I know how serious she takes it. Her being a teacher, she knows how to articulate herself. So to have the wife there, obviously as husband and wife, you kind of side each other when you're in the car, but about 15 minutes later, you're back on film because you have no choice.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So you guys filmed the first 10.
Yep.
Now, are you heading back? Are you getting prepared for the college season? Like, what's now that you're a TV star? Now what you doing?
Yeah, man. So right now,
go slum it with us sports guys.
I got to talk with my producers at ACC Network because we're talking about going back into that role that I was at, being an analyst. But at the same time, I think we might start renovating homes again in that season 2 around August. And if we do, I believe that renovating homes might take precedent over, being an analyst. And as much as I love talking football, as I love prepping, and really I like college because I'm really getting to learn about these kids. Like I feel like I'm a way that people get to hear about them. I'm the NFL player. Kind of like, hey, I ain't gonna lie, I loved your breakdowns this season of the receivers. Oh, I was watching. I love your breakdown of the college receivers because I felt like you give them a voice. Like when Steve Smith says this receiver is like that, you're like, oh well, let me tune in. You know what I mean? So for me, I try to do that for that lane too. But renovating homes, man, it just gives you a different feel, man. When these people have lost their peace of mind, these people aren't in their homes, these people have gone through so much and don't have any hope of being in their home, and we come in there in 5 days and give it back, meet them on a Monday, give it back to them on a Friday, man. I don't think there's any better feeling than being able to give people that peace of mind, man. So that's what I'm in the mix with. But I think if we start renovating homes in August like we're supposed to, I don't know if you see Trey again in a day-to-day role commentating like I was.
What have you learned, obviously working with the Weather Channel, what have you learned about our ecosystem?
I mean, tons.
Go ahead.
Well,
do tell.
Come on. Yeah.
Don't keep it a secret now.
Every episodes are obviously around a natural disaster. So when you watch these shows, you're learning so much information when it comes to the category that it was hit at, the wind speeds, what it's doing to the ecosystem, like you're saying, to the animals around. One of the episodes you watched would have been one of the Fort Myers ones. We go down to Sanibel. We talk about the turtles in brackish water. So fresh water, you got salt water. If salt water enters fresh water, it is now brackish water. Okay. And just learning about what that does to the ecosystem. So if I have a large freshwater population of animals and now it's brackish water because of salt water, you're talking about populations dying off, of freshwater animals. You talk about year after year, we're getting different hurricanes, and you're almost learning like the diagram of when these things are going to hit and how hard they're going to hit. So learning this each and every week, we get to saying these stats, this hurricane was a category 4. It hit at 140 miles per hour. And you're like, whoa, hold up, 140 miles per hour. This hurricane did the most damage, $5 billion in estimated damage. You're like,
well,
$5 billion.
One of the shows, the Champions, right? The family that was in Florida, and they were super competitive. They had the kid was doing culinary classes. You showed no mercy and was savagely beating your wife at darts, right? And it made me even go on. I went on Amazon and look, man, where did they get those big old Uno cards? I didn't realize you could play Uno with those huge cards.
Yeah.
Just seeing all of that, and like even just you guys were able to fix the steps, and then you got in trouble in your demo because you guys didn't have enough time, so you're trying to salvage and save the floor, and you got a little bit of extra.
You got a little carried away.
Got a little carried away.
Demo time.
It was demo time, and all right before break.
Train the floors.
Yes, the floor, right? Man, it's just been cool to watch. It's a fun show. Love watching you kind of do it, and also too knowing your personality. So I could see like, no, that's not Trey acting. That's just Trey being Trey.
Yeah, man, it's fun, man. And like you're saying, I love the aspect of like when you watch these renovation shows, it's usually about the home. You know what I mean? Like you come in day one, you might meet a family, but by the last day, you're meeting them again, And in our show, you get to meet the family on a Monday. In the middle of the week, we're going to come back. We're going to meet with the family again. We're going to talk with them, do something that they love to do. we're going to get to learn more about them so we can incorporate that in their home. We got 5 days. We're not just putting something together. We want to build what the family has to build. And on top of that, being able to do stuff with my wife. I mean, we get to learn about animals, the environment, just everything that's going on around. And on top of that, meeting those homeowners during the week, it does so much to them because they feel like they're a part of this. They don't feel like we're just coming to fix their home and then meet them again. They feel like, man, we got to meet Trey and Sierra. They're great people. We love the people who are doing something with our home. And it makes them a little more appreciative because when they look in their home, they're seeing stuff that they mentioned. Oh, I love playing darts. I love playing pool. Well, here goes a whole dartboard, and here goes a pool table, championship pool table that you guys said you needed. Fathers out till 2 to 5 a.m. in the morning playing darts and pool. Well, hey, you want your family back together? We got y'all. We'll put it in your home so y'all don't got to be out as late at night. Just little things like that we've been able to do for the families, man. That means so much to us. And like you said, Steve, man, once it's like demo time and it's time for me to have fun, I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite part, man. Like I've never dealt with buzz saws and angle grinders and stuff like that. So I want to have fun with it, man. I want to show the people that, hey, you don't got to be afraid to do this when it's your time, or if you get to do it, or if you're just watching the show to watch it. It's not just boring old Trey. It's just cutting wood. Nah, you're gonna get who I am cutting that wood.
That's dope, man. It looks fun. You seem like you're having a good time watching you do it, man. And it's just fun. It's just fun to see. I want to switch over to something, talk about your former job. I know I got a question to ask you.
Yeah.
But the way it's formulated on a rundown, I was like, man, I don't think I want to ask him that, especially off some of my shorts. But I want to ask only because I think I don't know the answer.
Okay, talk to me.
All right. Do you miss playing football in the league?
I don't.
Let me be really a fan. Why not?
Man, when we talked, you had said something that you said on the podcast, and I want to say you said it to me before you ever said it on the podcast. But when we have our whole life dealt with trying to go out on the field, kill the next man in front of us, be physically like I'm listening to music in the locker room before games to see red, to murder the guy in front of me. I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to go out there and harm anybody. I don't want to go out there and feel like this is all I have. Like I am just a football player. Like I never wanted that. So missing football, no. Even though I know I can play another 5 years. Like I know I can still play. But nothing about it, man. Steve, I can easily play another 5 years. I never even got to backup role. Like I always was a starter. Never. So give me my like veteran like he's.
I just gave a look.
No. The face. You know the faces. You know.
I made a face, but my words did not say anything.
So, but no, I don't miss it because it's a lot, man. It's a lot on the body. It's a lot on the mind. Look at this mother.
Man,
I don't, man, and I think it's always easier when you have a transition. When you know that you were supposed to transition, and I got in the broadcast, and I got on in radio, I got into the show ASAP. It makes it way easier. I think the guys who spend a few years kind of reaching for it, they end up losing that juice. Like I'm a former NFL player, and it's fresh. When you're a former NFL player 4 or 5 years down the road, there's some new former players down there too, and there's players who actually played. So for me, I never wanted to get caught up in that. I wanted to know, hey, when football is over for me and I feel like it's over, bounce, like get to the next thing. So football, I love it. I love talking about it. Like I said, when I'm talking about the college kids, when I was talking college is when I built that love for it again, because I felt like I lost the love of football with the politics. Bouncing from, this team to this team, learning how this team ain't really trying to win. This team claims they're trying to win, but y'all don't do nothing close to winning. And seeing how this team was a Super Bowl team, and y'all just brought in somebody who's going to make us Not a Super Bowl team. So for me, it's just you deal with all of that, and it's just I'm good. I'm good on this side, and I love what I'm doing, and I love the avenue that I'm taking because I see it taking me like many places. I really do. If I can put a name out there like Michael Strahan, I do a lot of studying of Michael Strahan, and I love how he's reinvented himself, man. If you ask these little kids who are maybe 20 years old and younger, they probably wouldn't know Michael Strahan was one of the best DNs ever in NFL history. You know, they're gonna be like, oh, the guy who's on the talk show. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. I don't care to be an NFL player my whole life. Eventually, I want to be known as something else that continues to help the people. And if I could do the show for my entire life, I really would. But it's one of those things where football, when it comes to playing, I don't miss it at all. Chasing guys like Steve Smith around, tackling grown men, getting into car accidents every game. Nah.
Yeah, it's definitely playing. It has its perks, right? It does.
Yeah.
I also think it does have this counterintuitive effect. I think on people as well, people who observe. I believe even just on this podcast, we're talking, where you are today transitioning, and throughout this off season, we've analyzed and talked about players, and you, like you said, you in the ACC and watching, there's such a opinion about other people's opinion about the evaluation process that sometimes you get caught up in the comments versus understanding what the analysts or the people who are studying film. I've always, you brought it up earlier, is I break down all these wide receivers. I've seen with Steve, he likes all the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
This is pointless. He's talking about all the good things. But then if I talk about all the bad things, then now I'm a hater. So
they love to call you a hater.
Bro, it's amazing, right? Or, I broke down Drake London, the wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, and people are upset, saying that, oh, I'm hating on him, or what are you chuckling at?
It's just very funny. You always bring him up, so it just makes it worse because it just sounds like you're always going in on him over and over again.
And I'm not trying to. It's just
I know you're not. That's why it's funny though.
Like I'm not like I would not want to be an NFL football player in today's age. So let me get that. Let's get that out of the way.
You just retired.
I don't desire to go play in the National Football League. I also am not jealous of all the fantastic football players that are out there. I'm also not jealous of some of the average wide receivers that are out there, below average wide receivers, and the guys who are aspiring to be a wide receiver, corner, DB. I kind of like the paperclip, stapling, paper cut, notepad type of job that I have right now, which is looking at the Jimmys and Joes, the X's and O's, and figuring out, does it work? And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, people don't say anything. We don't talk about it. We don't discuss it. We don't say, hey, Steve's right. I'm called a midget. I've been called he's the Napoleon complex. He's upset. He's upset I'm not upset. If I was upset, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. If I was upset, I'd be sitting at home complaining like some of these other people are doing. So I just want to bring a perspective that some people don't have, which is playing in the league for 16 years, playing against players like yourself who were really good, who knew the game inside and out, but not every football player is able to articulate. Hell, some days I'm not even able to articulate what I see sometimes because I've forgotten more football and I've forgotten what and why. Actually, after we record this, bro, I got a top 5 biggest hits. And I'm going to respond on and tell people what I was thinking on some of those hits. And I'm not gonna see the hits until we do the show, because I said I just want a natural reaction, my true reaction of going back in time. Because there are some hits, you know, dang, did that happen?
Did that happen?
Or let me tell you what really happened after.
No, I get that. Okay, I got one question that I feel like all of us answer the same. You know, we just said no to missing football, yes. But do you miss the locker room?
It depends on the locker room, because each year and how the team went, you miss, because there were certain things. You can have a good season and have a bad locker room, and you can have a bad season and have a great locker room. You can have a middle of the road season and have a roller coaster locker room. And I think the winning does not help a locker room, and losing does not help a locker room.
Yeah.
It's the individuals in a locker room and how they process the success and adversity in the locker room that really makes the locker room.
Yeah.
Because, and the reason, the year you were with the Carolina Panthers, they went to the Super Bowl, correct?
Yep.
That was a fun locker room, because I know a lot of those guys. There was a fun locker room, but it was also a locker room, would you say, at times, there was a lot of Chiefs and not enough Indians.
We had a lot of leaders.
Yes.
We did have a lot of leaders.
Had a lot of leaders, a lot of voices.
a lot of leaders. And like you're saying, it can have its good and it can have its bad. I think where you can get bad is when you have leaders who aren't living right, who create little Indians underneath them who are learning things the wrong way.
Deep dive in that, though. Deep dive in that, because and the reason I'm saying that is because people think age makes you a leader.
Yeah.
Position makes you a leader.
Yeah.
And then you have the coaches who try to push their leaders because that helps them.
They need their minions.
Yes. And I'm bringing all of this up is the complexity of a business of football. You have 53 men on the roster dressed 46, 53 men who are all different ages, sizes, color, experiences, how their family origin was, and you throw them all in there, and then you put them in shoulder pads, you put them in a hot environment, you put competition, you put money, you put fame in there, and all of a sudden, it could be, I like to say sometimes people focus on what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
But I've been saying lately is it could be both. Let's not focus on the chicken and egg. Let's just eat and make chicken salad.
So, when it comes to leadership, kind of something you just said was every position is going to have a so-and-so leader. They should have a leader.
Yeah.
Every team should have a good group of veterans. That might be, I want to say a good 6 to 10 guys should be veterans. And by veterans, I don't mean guys who are in year 6, year 7. I want those veterans to be year 8 to 12. I need guys who can show the young guys the ropes in the right way. What I said by having leaders who aren't leading the right way is what I learned about is, man, in the NFL, there are very, very, very talented guys. That means this guy might be able to go out at night. He might be able to stay up till 4 a.m. and he might get to workouts at 7 a.m. and go crazy. I mean, do everything you want him to do to a
Straight from the club to practice.
I'm talking straight to the club, straight to practice. So for me, you have young guys who follow that, who are young. They only know what they know. They feel like, hey, this is my leader. Let me follow him. This is the way of the NFL. And I learned quick, hey, this is not how this is done. You know, like, it's not how it's done, you know? Because when you think about the NFL, you think about glitz, glamour, money, cars, shows, you know, like you think about all that. And when you get to it and you think that this is what you're going to do and you're not going to be, and you're not as talented as so-and-so, it's going to hinder you. But I also loved with the Panthers, man, we had so many great veterans around us, man. Mike Tolbert, Thomas Davis, Roman Harper. I had Kurt Coleman that season. You know, just so much, Charles Johnson. And if you know the names that I've named, you know, they're a little different.
They're all different in all different in a good way.
In a good way, though, you know what I mean? And regardless of who they all led the right way, you know? And I've seen guys who are in roles that they think that they're leading the right way, and they're not. They're literally heading these kids down demise. They're heading these kids to 2-3 seasons, and they're done. While those men were nourishing us as young men, husbands, as you know, local community leaders. Like, we saw that in front of us, man. When I seen Thomas Davis defending Dreams Foundation, shoot, I love that. I went and pretty much made Trey Boston Beyond Belief Foundation. You know what I mean? Like, because I saw how these guys were leading in the right way. Charles Johnson going down to his hometown, creating a whole day of camps where he does a whole big event. I went and did that because my OGs did that. To this day, me and Roman Harper, Kurt Coleman, you know, we all talk, we all play golf, shoot, even with you. So for me, having guys like that who are good for you to nourish your mind, your body, your soul, instead of feeding you into this world, is who you need to have championship teams. And when I talk to my guys who, you know, I own a facility down in Fort Myers, D1 Fort Myers. The owners are me, Jalen Watkins, Sammy Watkins, all Super Bowl guys. And when I talk to them about Super Bowl, I ask them, what is the difference? And they tell me about the leaders on their team, the leaders who truly were good men who kept people going, instead of the leaders who are heading to demise. And the teams that I was on that were cheats, they had leaders who could not lead. And that's just being real. And one thing you said was coaches. Like, yeah, coaches need minions. And when coaches don't get the minion who says everything that they want to say and hey, you gotta be this way, act this way, and only do things my way. That's not how the league works. You're a league full of grown men. If you don't utilize your veterans for who they are, you're gonna lose them. You're gonna lose your team. You find and that you. For me, I'm not a guy I'm trying to get a team. I don't care to be the head honcho of the team. But if my guys are listening to me more than respecting what you have to say, you might want to use me as one of your guys. And if you use me as one of your guys, the cavalry will listen. We got you. But I think a lot of coaches, they fault themselves in trying to be the guy, like the number one guy that must be played into. No, use your veterans, because it starts in that locker room. Like you said, you can have a great season, average locker room. Sometimes, I'm not going to say it's going to be bad, but you can have an average locker room. You can have a bad team with a great locker room. And those are the years that you look back and you say, you missed out on because your guys were too good. Like, I look back at 2019. If Cam doesn't get hurt, we got a defense full of dogs, man. We got Luke Kuechly, Bruce Irvin, Gerald McCoy, KK Shore, me. I mean, it's just like DJ. Like, we have so many dogs that can ball. But if we lose that one guy, I mean, just like football, man, you lose one guy, especially the quarterback position.
It's a special guy too. A guy
special.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy because people don't really understand. A system can help a guy too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Get a bad player in a good system, and it goes pretty good.
Hey, listen, I'm stop right there, Steve. When I went to LA ran Seattle Seahawks defense, which is the 3-high single high DB safety.
Keep everything in front of you.
Keep everything in front of you. Trey, your job is no seams, no posts. Don't let nothing go deep on your boys.
Okay.
Man, Steve, when I mean that was the first system that I felt like, wow, I see why Earl Thomas is winning this. Talented player, amazing player. But being in a system like that taught me, oh my God, systems could truly make a player's career.
Mm-hmm.
Career. In that one season, I was second on the team in tackles, third in the league in INTs, 5 INTs. I want to say alternate in the Pro Bowl. Like, it was crazy. And it felt so easy to me. And then I left and went back to like a quarters defense. And I still 3 picks, 4 picks here and there. But being in that system showed me that the players around me were just players. Get to your landmark, make your tackle, you are good to go. And when you get defenses like that with great players, it's no reason why Seattle wasn't who they were, because they had the great players running an easy system. When we went to the Super Bowl back in 2015, we had like 8 plays. Let Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Shaq Thompson at linebacker go crazy. Let the D-line, Jared Allen that year, Charles Johnson, KK Short, Star, Latulele. Like, man, we had dogs. Let your dogs eat, and we had a rule that, hey, we just don't beat us. They can't beat us if they know what we're in. We'll let them know, hey, we're in quarters. We're in quarters. Beat us now.
Yeah, do something about it. Yeah.
Do something. But we knew our system to a T. And when you know your system to a T, and you feel like nobody can beat it, and you know all the ways that they should try to beat it, man, you're unstoppable, man. I see it year in, year out, man. If you got a good D-line, good front seven, and you just let them dogs eat, they gonna eat.
That's been Georgia the last 2 years. I know it's college versus NFL, but that's been Georgia's whole thing the last 2 years.
Look at the Eagles. The Eagles are going to continue to stack up. They're going to continue to stack up. I mean, you don't win the big game, but hey, you're going to find yourself there more often than not with a great D-line.
You teed it up, so that just makes me think, right? This is for shorts. This is for just everything. I go back and there's players on that team that you guys had so much success defensively.
Yeah.
And then you have a guy, Josh Norman, who excels in quarters.
Yes.
Does well when he keeps everything in front of him. When he gets his eyes looking in the backfield and he can pattern read and alignment and assignment read.
Yep.
However, he goes, not his fault, his franchise tag gets rescinded. He goes to, they're called the Washington Commanders now.
Commanders, yeah, they're Commanders now.
He goes out there, gets a whole bag and some change.
Yep, 75 M's. Exactly what he wanted.
But yet things didn't work out. Now, he got the money, and that's not it. But we all know, we want to get paid, but you also want to be known.
For sure.
As a heck of a football player.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about that transition of, you talked about personnel and scheme. Then he goes to Commanders.
Man to man.
And just my opinion, and not shade, not anything, it's just observation, didn't seem to align. His performance did not seem to align the way he was showing he had the ability to be in Carolina.
I think,
and I'm asking because you're a safety.
Yeah.
You're over the top. You're in the back half. So you understand, pause, how they make the sausage, right?
Thank you for pausing that.
Thank goodness.
Hey, but no, Steve, what I'll say is, Josh, what a lot of people don't understand is when a player can get into this system, and they've been in this system for 4-5 years, they should know this system like the back of their hand. I practiced with these safeties and this defense and this coach for multiple years. So when me and Josh are playing together, he knows everything that I'm going to allow him to do. Hey, Josh, I know with Dez Bryant, you're trying to be physical. I got you over the top. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Hey, Josh, I know that you're going to be playing with eyes this whole time. I need you to cover this side, and I'm going to go do some stuff over here. it's the knowing your teammate and chemistry that allows us to be who we are. And I will say the number one person who got Josh to be who he is, and I hope that he would say this too, is Steve Wilks.
Yeah.
Steve Wilks knew how to coach every single player the way that they needed to be coached. If it was Trey knowing that, hey, Trey responds better when you cuss his ass out. Like, hey, it's gonna happen. He's a good guy, but he likes being cussed at a little bit. And Josh was one of the guys who you had to build his confidence, allow him to know that he's better than a lot of us. If you gas us up to, oh, you're really this good, and maybe you're this good, well, maybe you start playing this well because you think you're that good. And that's what I would try to instill to my guys. Man, you a dog, man. You can, and some of them, hey, little size dogger than most. You know what I mean? but if you can get that out of them, you saw Josh Norman in his prime, a great coach, a great staff, a great system with great guys around him who knew everything that he wanted to do. You go to Washington, you're on a whole new team, whole new scheme, whole new secondary DBs. Like, talk to him, you know, he had to get adjusted to how his safeties like to play. For me, I was in safety, shoot, I want my boys to not look bad. Like, I want y'all's name not to be on Twitter. Yeah. I don't want nobody to say y'all boys burnt toast. Yeah. So I'm going to make sure I protect y'all boys. But for, you know, a lot of guys moving on to different places, it's hard, man. It's hard to build that chemistry and say the same swag and same feel that you had because learning these playbooks isn't easy. Yeah. Now, corner, you got a little easier job, but if you take away, like you said, he's a quarters corner, loves to use his eyes, and if you take that away from him, it's like, Trey, hey, you love playing deep, deep third safety, middle, post safety, but I want you to play man to man every single play. Can I do it? Yeah. Am I gonna enjoy doing it? Probably not. But it's that's that role of when you meet that perfect coaching system. Gettleman, man, why you rescinding that board franchise tag, man? I'm talking. We would have came back with the whole same team next season. Oh, don't get me started on all that, man. But man.
I brought that up because you can see players, right? There's a number of players.
Numbers. There's way more players that are system players than guys that are ballers. I'll say that right now.
Like J.C. Jackson, right? You see what obviously he's sustained some injury, so that's not his fault, right?
Yeah.
And then I go back to
real quick, why is it different for Jace? We just talked about how Josh Norman, he had to learn a new system, new safety behind him. JC had 1 year already, and can he also not adjust, or are we just saying the system?
I just
well, I'm asking. I'm asking.
No. He was injured, so we weren't able to see what he needs or what he likes. Like, we didn't get a full context of, like, man, JC, we know what JC was and how he played and what made him such an attractive free agent leaving the Bills. We have not been able to get the JC. We have not been able to get the JC Jackson. I'm sorry, not the Bills, the New England Patriots. We have not been able to, without the injuries, been able to see the transition and the change of system. If there is a change of system, was it the system, or was it him, or was it both? We haven't gotten that. We haven't gotten enough to know who gets the credit.
Right.
I think right now this is the year that we'll learn because of him coming in ASAP and getting hurt. This is the year that even Derwin James got hurt too. Now, what I don't like about those, J.C. Jackson and Asante Samuel, I think Jr. Is that who it is?
They're two different players.
They're two different players, but they're two both smaller corners. Now, I'm not saying smaller corners can't lock down big receivers, da-da-da-da-da-da. But I think we're in a game today where different teams are now, they're now coming with a big receiver who's like that and a smaller receiver who's like that. And when you play let's just say a Seattle Seahawks, you're going to get a DJ Metcalf, and then you're going to get a Tyler Lockett. Who is on the bigger receiver? Or do you just say left and right? Let you guys play y'all's play. You know,
Isn't
me,
that Derwin's whole thing, though, is he can play safety and man-to-man?
No,
but Derwin's not guarding receivers. You know what I mean? Like, Derwin is going to guard your Travis Kelce. He's going to guard your you know, he can do a little bit, but it's not.
He can't do it
much.
All.
No, he can't do it all.
I'm saying that was the rap on him getting drafted. I know Kelce was just talking about Derwin gave him the hardest hit of his career. I know
for sure.
I know that's not coverage, but the whole thing, kind of like Jalen Ramsey too, when he was coming out, it was like, oh, he can do it all.
Okay,
so that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking.
Two different players though. So like when people put Ramsey and Derwin James together, Derwin is a safety first.
Yes.
Jalen Ramsey is a corner first. So when both of them can do the same things, like play nickel, it doesn't mean that they're exactly alike. Jalen Ramsey, corner, big corner, can guard anybody.
Correct.
Derwin James can guard almost anybody. Correct. But I'm not putting him on no slot like Tyreek Hill and guys like
no. But we're talking about bigger receivers like a DK. That's why I'm saying if it's matchup dependent.
But so people don't like this, right? And this is where I get in trouble a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. I look at DK, and DK, there are a number of things that DK does well, but there are a few things that you have to completely remove and take off the menu, because that's just not who he is, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Like, for me, I'm not a 50-50 ball guy. You can't say, hey, we're going in the red zone and we're ISO and Steve and it's 50-50 ball. No, that's Calvin Johnson, right?
Yeah.
That's who he is. And so many times people hear when I say remove that item, it's not a la carte off his menu. Oh, he's mad. He's the most. He's not. No receiver in today's game is 100% error-free.
No.
Because one, athleticism is now becoming offense and defense. Back in the day, old football was all the athletes played offense, the rejects played defense. Then there was Deion came, who's a all-around athlete, and he showed, hey, Prime showed swag, athleticism, speed, finesse. You could play corner, right? Eric Turner, finesse, and also hit you. Today, in today's football, systems too have taken away things. And then the system of defense said, hey, Derwin James and Jalen Ramsey back in the day would have been tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. Now they're playing DB, and it's like, wow, oh my gosh. A gazelle, a long stride corner who once he gets going, he can run with anybody. However, those first 5 yards is kind of like, oh, he takes a little bit to get going. All of that stuff in football has all changed. And so when I get back, DK, I like DK, but I also know there are some things, and I've said it before, that DK doesn't do as well as some of the other things he does great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm trying to think, man. DK. Okay. One more.
So if you're covering DK, or you're the safety who has to be aware, because DK is you got to know where he is, but then you also got to know where Tyler Lockett is.
Yeah.
Walk me through the difference of those two players from a safety's perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm a wide receiver. I'm gonna just sit back and listen. And then when you say something, I'm like, boy, explain that. Get a little deeper.
Yeah. So what I love is most of the time you're not going to see one as Z and X. So that means I get to shade still to stay in the middle of maybe a hash of maybe a slot and an X receiver. Now, DK, I'm thinking about, hey, deep ball. Like, I know he wants the 50-50. I know he wants to just show he's bigger and better than everybody. Cool. Tyler Lockett, I want to look at, and I want to see him as a plaster guy. Like, he's going to find ways to get open, and he's a slippery pause when it comes to he's going to catch the ball or he can go deep. Like you don't think of him as a deep receiver, but then you get to watch a film and you're like, Tyler Lockett has like in a whole career, like 16 deep balls past 50 yards. Like it's just one of those tricky guys. And so for me, Tyler Lockett is the guy who I'm watching the most film on with my young guys because I want them to not have – sometimes you can have a little disrespect when it comes to preparing for an opponent. You say, okay, they're this good, all right, Tyler Lockett, okay. He can't. How good can he be? You know what I mean?
Until you turn around and you go a 74-yard bomb in the end zone with that much room, and he's.
I'm like, young boy, I told you, Tyler Lockett, when he goes plaster, it's gonna go deep. And all right, cool, man. Next play. So I want to pay more attention to Tyler Lockett because he's more of the let out guy. Like he's the more consistent when you need a guy, he's going to be there.
Okay, so stop there. I'm gonna throw some names down. So when you hear the Cincinnati Bengals, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, boom, safety. What do you do?
Jamar Chase, like I love Buddy's game, man, because he almost reminds me of like a DJ Moore when it comes to running technique, where like he doesn't look like he's moving, but he's sliding. And Jamar Chase can do so much to you because he's a physical runner. I mean, he reminds me a little bit of you. Like he turned into a running back after the catch. T. Higgins is saucy with it, could be a number one receiver, but I like my guys to tackle him. Like that's literally it. Like, get your hands on him, stay near him, tackle him. Jamar Chase is the guy who I'm like, hey, we got to get the cavalry. Like, you're going to need a gang of guys to stop this young man if you don't get to him yourself. And I don't mind that. Like, I like corners to be real. Like, when you're watching film this week, Trey, I need you XYZ. Don't tell me you don't need me. And we get into this game, and Buddy got 3 tugs before half.
You still good? You still got it? Thanks. We appreciate it.
I could have watched my film to know, hey, this is how I want to help you. This is where I need to help you. Like, so for me, Jamar Chase is one of those young guys who he gives everybody a fit because he's strong, he's physical, he's fast. After catch, he's going to be physical. It's going to be hard to get him down, and you're going to need a team. T. Higgins, again, great route runner, young talent, amazing. But I think he's a little bit easier, just one, to put hands on and tackle. That's literally it. The rest of that, I'm a big, hey, line it up again. Oh, they got you? 15, line it up again. We're good. Oh, what they got 10 yard good.
He's coming back. He's already posted. He's put the league on notice. OBJ in Baltimore.
I like it.
Why?
I like it.
Why?
Because you're knowing that it's gonna be a run game heavy already. So a lot of what you're gonna do is you're gonna see play action getting OBJ one-on-one. Well, if I can get OBJ one-on-one, I like that all day of the week. Like if you say 50-50 ball, no, I believe it's 70-40, 70-30. You know what I mean? Like I think OBJ is gonna beat your guy man-to-man every time, especially if I can get play action to where I can get your safeties, Paul, sucked up in the run game, or where it's true one-on-one, no safety help. I think I like that. And it gives Lamar Jackson a true receiver. Like, I don't think he's had that true receiver where, hey, I can throw it up and he's going to be there. He's had your boy from Brown. He had your boy Brown. Brown drops a lot of passes and is a smaller stature type guy. Who has been his 50-50 deep ball?
Oh, Hollywood. Hollywood.
Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't had that guy yet. And I think OBJ creates that. And I know the want to of OBJ to get back to himself is going to be great for those guys because they're going to see greatness in front of them, as well as Lamar Jackson can hold that team. Without OBJ, that's still a bout playoff team.
Yeah.
I think OBJ can put them over the hump, giving them that extra talent on offense, because all you need is a guy who, that 1 3rd down, you needed them to extend a drive. That one play where, hey, there was no momentum in the game and he could give us a spark. It was a 20-yard catch that he reverse field 2 times, and now everybody's just so live. Like, that's what that one-handed catch where now everybody's like, oh, comeback season. Like, you need that momentum, that juice on your team as well. And I think OBJ creates that, as well as giving, like I said, Lamar Jackson a true talent to give the ball to. And I like, was it Duvernay or what's the other?
Devin Duvernay.
Duvernay. I like Buddy.
Rashad Bateman.
I like those 2 young boys because they're both sliders. They're going to run fast. Right now, we're in the game of speed. Like, they don't care about schematics. I'm going to run my boys deep. And then after the 4th, 5th play, can you catch them running deep again when I put in this number 2, 3 receiver? So for me, those guys are going to cause problems, almost like a Miami. How Miami's just super fast and they find ways in the space.
That's the track team right there.
It really is. So I like them to be that, with OBJ giving that splash.
All right, this is the last one, then we'll let you go. Appreciate your time. You playing a post deep third safety.
Ooh.
Tell me some of the toughest receiving tight ends that you had to go against, and what made them difficult to cover. Go.
Yeah, I mean, one pops off it already. I mean, Travis Kelce he's a nightmare. Why? Because he's 6'5", he's like 240, but he has some wiggle to him. Like, when I talk about wiggle, Travis is a basketball player who's playing football. And like, you can see it in his routes. Like, he get real saucy at the top, hit you with a crossover. And we're so used to tight ends being robots. Oh, I got the tight end? Oh, bet. Like you're so used to knowing what they're going to do, how they're going to act. That, like, Travis Kelce gives that anomaly where, like, man, he can be a slot receiver and give you some wiggle, get to you. And he's a big body. So he's not like you can get around him.
He boxes you out very well.
He boxes you out well. So he knows how he wants to get open. And again, his quarterback is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So, like, when you have a elite teammate who is the one teammate you need to be elite with, and you have the capability of making up your routes and getting open in spaces, I mean, that's what makes him elite, because it's not like he's running, oh, I know Travis is going to run this 7 right here. Oh, I know he's going to run this dig right here. No, I know he's going to run this shallow. No, it's going to be shallow, whip. It's going to be 7 in, back to 7. Like, he's going to find ways to get open, and it's all about timing for those guys. So he doesn't give you those necessary route trees that you're used to. He's going to sauce it up and make it difficult for you, and he's going to find ways to get open.
All right, another tight end.
I think another tight end during his time, Vernon Davis, because Vernon Davis was one of the very first tight ends to give us that 4.3 speed. You see my little girl?
Yeah, I do.
He was one of the very first tight ends to give us that 4.3 speed, and a lot of DBs didn't know how to handle that yet. You know, fast, strong. Now, his route tree was a little more route tree-ish.
Yeah.
But to have that speed coming on you, like, you're used to pause. You're used to man. Woof. Woof. Wild boy. You're used to sitting on tight ends pause routes. You know, I gotta say it, but you're used to sitting on those routes. And Vernon Davis was one of the very first tight ends that you really couldn't do that because the speed was gonna hurt you.
Okay. One more. I don't know. I think you played against my guy.
Talk to me.
Darren Waller. What does Darren Waller present by getting traded to the New York Giants?
Okay. So Darren Waller, I got to play with in college. He was actually a receiver at the time.
Yeah, he was.
6'6" receiver out of Georgia Tech.
Yep.
And I didn't notice my last season, I believe we played them. And I told him, like, dang, like, bro, I didn't know this was really you this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the name. I remember, you know, But to see who he had been to who he is now is
Crazy.
it's crazy. So to see the development, he is one of those, again, his whole life, he pretty much played receiver.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's one of those receivers who he played tight end. And he's one of those 4-4 guys, fast, strong, can jump out the gym, rebound. And he's almost like a Kelsey nowadays. When he can stay healthy, he's a nightmare because in schemes, all I'm going to do with him is either give him deep overs, fades, or options. And he's going to find a way to beat a smaller safety or even a bigger safety. He's going to find a way to beat your linebackers because your linebackers aren't going to be able to run with him. So he's one of the newer tight ends I love in this game. Daniel Jones, I hope, takes advantage of him. I know he lost Ingram last year, so he didn't really have a tight end he could stick with. But I think that helped him because after he kept losing OBJ and Shepard, I think he was looking for that out.
Absolutely.
Well, I think he has that out now. If you want it, you have the perfect Darren Waller to go and be that number one guy if you need him to be, and depend on the run game with Saquon. And I think they're good to go over there.
All right. Well, appreciate your time, man. Appreciate you coming on, bro. Let you get back to your day, man. Love you, dog, and see you in a couple of weeks, man.
Man, love you, bro. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for having your boy, man. We got to get back on the links, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, I'll just let you know. Dragging it. I've been playing.
See, and I ain't been playing, so I don't like that.
Bro.
We'll play it like
I played the other day. Joe's over here. Joe gonna get mad.
He's moonlighting.
Yeah.
I played the other day. It was a par 4.
Yeah.
It was 382. My second shot.
Uh-huh.
I was 82 yards from the green, Playboy.
Ooh. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm not going to mess with you right now.
I bogeyed the hole.
No. See, we don't talk about that stuff. We'll
I bogeyed the hole.
You know what I mean?
But,
we only talk about the good shots.
Ooh, I was striking the poles and everything. I was looking. Anybody see that? I was surprised myself.
Hey, nah, man. We gonna get out soon, man. But man, appreciate you. Colin, man, hold it down out there in Maine for us, my boy.
I'm trying, yeah. I'm spreading the word everywhere I go.
All right, bro.
All right, holla at y'all.
Okay.
You're good.
Cut to it, let's get down to it.